Thanks, Simon. Good morning, everyone. I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this very thoughtful discussion about the state of play with regard to immigration, Hispanics, and the electorate. And I do appreciate the leadership that Simon and Joe have shown on this issue, and I'm so pleased to be on a panel with Frank Sherry, a great leader on this issue as well, and of course to have had the chance to hear from Senator Bob Menendez. Hard to find a more articulate spokesman for the Hispanic community, and so I'm pleased to be here today. This is an important time, and I think as a leader representing a major national Hispanic organization that is an advocacy and civil rights organization, I think it's important to try to capture a sense of the Latino perspective in this country today and to understand what the state of play among Hispanics is. We've heard a lot of statistics, but the reality is that Hispanics are feeling assaulted today in many respects directly due to this onslaught and attack on immigrants. It's hard for a lot of people, I think, to understand, but what we've seen is a major uptick in the not just in the political world, but also in the media that has created this sense of anxiety and fear. For the first time in a long time, we've seen conservative talk radio and orchestrated anti-immigrant grassroots campaign dominate the debate over immigration, so much so that we saw a direct impact on the bipartisan compromise that had emerged with the White House and Congress. And it didn't take Hispanics to make that characterization. I'll quote to you Trent Lott, who declared, quite frankly, that talk radio is running the country. And he said that at the height and when we saw the failure in that Senate bill. Congress's failure to act, coupled with the intense vitriol of the anti-immigrant lobby, has created a political vacuum that state and local officials are attempting to fill. It's easy to understand. Setting immigration policy, though, is the responsibility of the president and the Congress, and it cannot be filled by state and local initiatives. And in fact, when they do try to do so, what we see is the dramatic negative effects that this creates. An effort to undercut oftentimes some public health and safety of all of their residents. It leads to discrimination and to racial profiling, and it creates an environment that is hostile to anyone who is mistaken for an immigrant, which pretty much means the entire Latino community and often other communities of color. These are things that we are now seeing in such a way where we can document some of these things. It's not just word of mouth anymore. We're seeing real examples from checkpoints, police checkpoints in Georgia that are aimed at pulling over Hispanics, to most recently a Long Island woman, a U.S. citizen whose home was raided and family terrorized by police and immigration agents in the middle of the night. I think on the political scene, we're seeing that Republicans are seizing on an opportunity to galvanize their base for the, efforts to, I think, appeal to their base. But what has been astonishing to me is that what we've seen in the last midterm election and the most recent elections is that efforts to demonize or to demagogue or to divide on this issue have not proven successful. We have seen congressional seats go down in border states in particular where they've tried to make this the single issue and demagogue on it. We've seen other folks who've taken the high road. Governor Tim Kaine, when we saw that he was in his election, took an issue that was a value-oriented approach to this and saw him win. So there are lessons here, but it doesn't seem like anyone is paying attention to them. And it's astonishing that we're seeing the Republicans, and now I think the Democrats, we've seen the Republicans, I think, try to oftentimes, as we've heard already today, out Tancredo, Tom Tancredo. There have been a couple of folks in that Republican primary of candidates who have set themselves apart, and I think it has shown, we'll see ultimately what happens, but McCain and Huckabee have surged, and they have taken more principled approach to this issue, and you've seen Huckabee take a surge and McCain. I think on the Democrat side, we are concerned that there seems to be an effort to triangulate their way to an enforcement-only middle ground on this. And I think both parties should really move forward at their own peril on this if they decide to take either the Tancredo or the triangulation approach. I don't believe that they will see that it will be successful across the country, but I certainly don't believe it will be something that will be successful when talking to the largest growing segment of the electorate today, the Hispanic voting bloc. But, you know, in terms of the state of immigration debate, as the Latino community is affected by it, I think we are seeing that poll after poll indicates that Americans are in the same place that they've always been. And despite, Lou Dobbs' fear-mongering and rallying cry that anything short of mass deportation is amnesty, the public does want a path to citizenship for those who are willing to pay their dues, including those undocumented that are already here. And without a path to citizenship, deportation is the only answer being offered by those fear-mongers. And when you think about what's going to be required in mass deportation, you certainly understand that, we have so many issues. How many boxcars will it take to deport 12 million people? What kind of police state would be required to ultimately track them all down? How would the public react to men in uniforms? And, this notion of separating families, I just don't understand how people can carry that argument to its conclusion and believe that that is an end that is consistent with this country's values and traditions. So, one of the things we released, National Council of Raza released a report with the Urban Institute documenting the impact of increased immigration rates on children. And we used data from that report, and the New York Times estimates that over 12,000 American children have been separated from at least one parent by our government, causing what is really a humanitarian crisis and a new set of challenges for our schools, child care centers, and child protection infrastructure. We have to be able to understand that, yes, enforcement is important, but we have to be thoughtful about how we choose to enforce our laws and what are the priorities around that. The airwaves, and so, many in the Hispanic community are seeing these families being separated, the children being affected by this, and it's having an impact. The airwaves are often filled with the slander and misinformation and oftentimes downright bigotry that we're seeing over and over again. Another fearmonger, Glenn Beck, commented in a mock ad that was produced by subscribers to his website, known as Insiders, that depicted this giant refinery that produces what he called was Mexinol, which according to the ad is fuel made from the bodies of illegal immigrants from Mexico. You may think that sounds outrageous. Well, you're Hispanic in this country. It's appalling. And don't think that people are going to forget about this. This is having an indelible impact on the Hispanic community, but it should affect everyone. This type of approach should offend everyone in this country, not just Hispanics. But I'll tell you what, Hispanics are feeling that kind of anti-immigrant sentiment, and it's spilling over across so many communities today. So, I think a substantial number of politicians, especially at the presidential level, though, have thought that they might be able to build on this, what we think is an ugly foundation of this media coverage, and use it as an opportunity for demagoguery. The climate has gotten so ugly that we can now document with government reports, the FBI, that there have been dramatic increases in hate crimes against Hispanics. Again, this is not an NCLR report. This is the FBI Department of Justice report. Also, the American Defamation League, ADL, documents a dramatic increase in hate group activity aimed at Latinos, not just at minorities, but at Hispanics. There is no coincidence that in the 2-year period where we have seen the most intense debate and rhetoric occur on this issue, we've seen the highest historical spike in hate crimes occur against Hispanics, a 23% increase in hate crimes against Hispanics in the 2-year period that we have documented most recently from 2003 to 2004 to 2006. So this is of no small factor. And for folks who think that this stuff is just rolling off the backs of Hispanics, you need to understand this is leaving an indelible mark. We've seen increases in the number of hate groups and the fact that their operating budgets have increased, and an increase in the number of local nativist organizations in the last 2 years. You know, just this week, I'm closing now, the local advocate in a southern county in the United States told us specifically, you know, we're trying to find lawyers to help us deal with issues in Saluda County. The police there, according to our context, really terrorize anyone who looks or sounds Hispanic. This is a quote from that source. My contacts have told groups not to come and to try to educate the town about immigrants and myths. They fear for our physical safety. So, you know, has this issue crossed the line with Hispanic voters? Yes, it has. And, you know, I believe that this has now become very personal for Hispanics. It's not just a policy debate. This is now a personal matter for many Hispanics across this country. And they're frustrated, they're hurt, they're offended because so many believe in this great country and contribute in so many different ways. And we shouldn't have to defend our right to be here as Hispanics. But yet we are continually now put into that position. So will this be an important issue in the elections? Yes, it will. I mean, it's hard for this not to cut across every aspect of someone who's working and getting up and going to work today and their family to see some impact of this on their lives. Is it the highest rated polling issue? Of course we care about education. Of course we care about health care. But does this cut across every segment of some life in the Hispanic community? Yes, it does. And I think as a result of that, what you're going to see, as Simon and others have pointed out, is an increased engagement in our civic process. And you are going to see, I predict, the largest Hispanic voter turnout in November of 2008 than we've ever seen in this country before. And it should happen that way because we should respond and we should hold both parties accountable and making sure that they're responding to Hispanics on this issue. But at the end of the day, this is not going to be a Republican versus Democrat issue for Hispanics. It's going to be a courage versus cowardice issue. It's going to be who's a leader on this issue and who's not a leader on this issue. Who can create a vision and a solution to this issue, and that's where the Hispanics will line up, and that's where they're going to make a difference in this election. Thank you very much.